The You Are Here podcast is brought to you by Anchor.fm. Anchor is a podcasting platform where you can record, edit, upload, distribute. You can do everything on the Anchor app. Everyone asks me, man, how do you put your how do you have a podcast?
What's
what are you
the
doing?
answer? What do you do?
What is it?
What
Dave,
do you do?
What is the answer?
Well, you go to Anchor FM, dude, and they give you the tools to create your own podcast, to monetize, to distribute. They have all these cool tools. They're very accessible.
Easy interface.
Yeah, easy interface,
Boom.
man.
You just go up. You can record right there. You can invite other people to the recording session.
Yeah.
And you just put it up right there. Manage the levels. Do everything.
Yep.
It have no minimum requirement of the audience to start earning money on your podcast.
That's right. So
guys,
stop asking Mikey questions. Just go to Anchor FM. Download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Easy peasy.
Anchor.fm to get started. Welcome to the You Are Here podcast. This is episode 35 of the podcast. My name is Mike, and you can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube with the video, Anchor.fm. Why are you doing that?
Because there's an echo. You have an echo.
I know. I was trying to make it exciting for you guys, you know?
Okay.
All right, fine. www.youareherepodcast.co. We could not afford the M. And guys, another great week. I'm feeling great. A little tired. Dave, you're going to introduce our guest that we have?
Yeah,
I'm going to pass it on to you really quick.
Sure. So today in our new studio space, is this echo still on, bro?
Sorry.
Huh?
Turn that off, dude. Turn that.
I'll make you sound like a girl.
No. Keep it like that. So today on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that helped.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's better. Now I sound.
I couldn't compare to what it was supposed to be. So
You're like, this is a normal?
yeah, I don't know.
All right, guys, let's get real here. All right, everyone, calm down. Today on the podcast, I've got a very close friend, a artistic brother, a partner in this artistic journey that we're on. His name is Eric Clommel. He is an actor, a producer, a writer, a director, a photographer, a father, a husband, a male.
Oh man,
he's alive.
Thank you.
Yeah, and he's here with us today. Eric Clommel, everybody.
Welcome. Let's clap it up.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, man. How you feeling?
Feeling great.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about yourselves?
You've had like 3 coffees today?
2.
Okay. Me too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Me
Same
too.
here.
How do you take your coffee?
I usually do coffee with oat milk.
Yeah.
And
oat milk.
I try not to do the sugar, but sometimes I just can't not do it.
I'm all about the raw sugar.
Yeah.
I need that raw
I'm
sugar.
doing the raw sugar usually, but
Oat milk, I feel like, was such a game changer, dude.
oh,
Yeah.
man. Yep.
Everyone's hooked.
Everyone's
all I
hooked,
do.
dude.
Yeah.
Almond milk was like the wave, and now like oat milk is
Just soak some milk and soak some water in that oat.
Yeah, dude.
The place
That's all
we
it
just
is.
went didn't have oat,
They didn't have
Oh,
oat milk.
really?
That's the place we went.
so I went almond.
Yeah, and Eric punched the lady that worked there and said, I need oat milk.
That's true.
She made it up with that espresso bean.
Shout out to Grapes down the block, man. They have some good
Dude,
ideas.
yeah.
They're doxing. Don't give us our location.
Oh, my bad.
Damn, bro. I'm trying to stay low key out here.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, we're in a weird location with a lot of art.
Yeah.
It's Mike's like studio space that I had no idea.
This is
existed.
actually at my work. It feels kind of weird, but it's kind of nice, right?
It's really nice.
I like it.
It's like stupid nice.
Feels good.
There's a leather couch off camera. You can't really see. There's like a beautiful wood
we
table.
we could be chilling.
There's a piano, giant flat
Pretty
screen.
great. There's a golf putter in here.
There's an airplane.
Yeah.
Mike was sitting in a leather
helicopter.
chair with a giant desk.
Helipad on the top.
You're a baller, dude.
No, I'm not.
You hide it.
No.
You do. You hide behind this
Nah.
facade of like youth. And
Well, I
like,
don't want to be too loud.
Yeah. You're hiding it, dude. Don't be a mask, bro. I had something I wanted to just shoot out there right now. I was reading this poetry stuff. I just want to get your opinion on this thing. Reading this poet Atticus, right? The Dark Between the Stars.
You gave me that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
You read this?
I read that, yeah.
Fuck yeah, you did. Let me get some, bro. There it is.
There we go.
Oh, this poem's perfect. Give like the sun, and the whole world grows tall.
Yeah, I would have to
Give like the sun,
Give
bro.
like
the
the
image
sun,
of
man.
that is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
But the sun, taking the sun into account. So I'm getting poetic already on you, dog. You
Happens
know
every
me.
time.
You know me pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
You know it was gonna come here.
absolutely.
The sun, dude, is just like, it just shows up every day, right? It's constantly nothing but give, right? Giving us energy constantly. I don't know the science on this, but it feels that way. And if you give like the sun, the whole world will grow tall. Like, I don't know, the thought of that was really cool, man. I like that. I want to get that tattooed on me somewhere.
And I
You
would
know,
have to
on my
say on top
throat.
of that, don't be afraid to give.
Yes, man.
Because some people are, you know, they would see something like that and they would say, whoa, how much is too much? I mean,
Yeah.
should I,
Yeah.
what can I do?
Yeah.
Some people don't know
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
there's a hesitancy and a fear in the world that we live in right now.
Yeah.
Where that is not, some people would think that is kind of uncouth.
Right.
Like I gotta just live in my shell.
Right.
What I gotta do.
Be
comfortable in the
Be
shell.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
for
a
sure.
comfort in that you got to get out of. Yeah.
On top of that, I want to go. I've been thinking about it. Like I don't know why I've been having these deep thoughts. I've been listening to. I don't know why I've been getting into classical music.
Hey, man.
Really weird.
It's like you're a little me, dude.
Don't say that.
Dude, I feel
You're
like
ruining everything.
no, dude. I just get excited.
But I was listening to a lot of and like
Yeah.
a lot of stuff just like
What were you listening to? What exactly? Vivaldi?
no some
Mozart? Bach?
I'm like forgetting everything.
The Bee Gees? What are we talking about?
There's like some like more deeper stuff. So I don't know how to say the names, like Dvorak,
Yeah.
Tchaikovsky, some Chopin.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Chopin. That's my boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of it, like these
Chopin?
pieces.
Chopin?
Chopin, I don't know.
Chopin.
Yeah.
But basically, like, I was thinking about how like difficult and how skilled you have to be, and how back then, like this was like 1800s, right? Like people lived like the music was the culture. Like people would go to like the symphony or like a concerto and like go see that,
Right.
and like that was their life. You know what I mean? That was the excitement,
Yeah.
and like it offered like a new perspective on living and seeing and all these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it made me think about like the more simple things in life, especially like nature and stuff like that. Like when you look at like trees or flowers, like when a flower blooms,
Yeah.
like, it looks like it's reaching up.
Yeah.
the
Yes.
sun, right?
Hey.
It's like,
Whoa.
you know
Yes,
what I mean?
it
There's like
does.
that connection.
Yes, it
I
does.
feel like we're the same way.
Oh, yes, we
You know
are.
what I mean?
Yes, we are.
I don't know. I was having a lot of deep thoughts.
I like this, Mike.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm getting like, I'll be a little you. Why not?
Yeah. Fuck
A
yeah.
little part of you.
I mean, you're not me, but like it's cool, man, to see you. Because like I'm telling you,
You're not me.
Almost.
No. But I'm telling you, like back in the like when I met Mike, it was like it was like wall, dude. Talking about like there was no growing because Mike was not sharing a thing with me, and now that you've opened yourself up a bit to like
Yeah.
thinking in ways you're trusting your impulses more, you're allowing your brain to kind of fantasize a bit and go different places.
So you over time. How long ago was that?
Oh man, years.
Years ago.
Yeah,
So you
3
dropped
years?
what we were just
Yeah.
saying before about the shell, the hesitancy to being I'm afraid to
Yeah,
give.
yeah.
And that came about,
Right.
and went away.
Yeah, dude.
I think
Yeah,
about
I
that
can
too,
relate.
and it's like I think about that shell, and I feel like I still have that shell,
Right.
but it comes down a lot easier. I think.
That's
You know?
that's the thing.
Yes.
Which is
If you can do that, man, if it comes down easier,
Yeah.
then it's that much easier to share.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you, bro, for sharing. Dude, speaking of sharing, I don't know. I don't know why I said that.
That was a sick transition, man.
You're about to share with me right now.
What you gonna say
You're about to
right
share
now?
with us right now.
All right.
Yeah.
You're like a radio host.
Yeah, dude. I'm really good at segues,
Speaking
dude.
of sharing.
I'm really good at segues, dude. Check this out. Well, so you're from Minnesota, bro.
I am.
How was that, dude? So you grew up in Minnesota.
I did. Yeah.
What is like in my mind, I imagine a lot of snow.
So that's the
Snow
thing is,
and
you know,
Vikings.
growing up in Minnesota,
Yeah.
and now, I've been in New York 10 years.
You're right, right.
And so living here now, if I could just count how many times people just associate Minnesota with just being cold, it's like there are other seasons. And so it's just so hilarious to me just to know like there are also other cold states,
Right.
But why is it that Minnesota is just every time, especially like working at a bar or being on a set anywhere, if I say Minnesota to somebody, they're like, ooh, brr.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
when did that start?
You know
when
what
did
I
when did it not be apparent to people that there's summer there?
Speaking for myself, like I only think of Minnesota, and this is
Yeah.
because I'm from Jersey, but like I only think of Minnesota in terms of fall and football and winter.
Yeah.
And so I think of the Minnesota Vikings. Shout out Minnesota Vikings. And then like I think of like every time I turn on a Minnesota game, it's snowing.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it must be freezing out there, dude.
So
Constant.
yeah, I mean, so a lot of those things are probably why it's associated with that, because you know, through the TV you're seeing that.
Yeah.
And so think about how many other people get that. So from how often football is viewed and things like that.
Yeah.
But like, you know, then there's the flip side. If you go there for spring and summer, absolutely beautiful.
Really?
Absolutely beautiful.
Oh God.
Yeah,
my
my wife's dad was saying a couple of years ago,
Shout out.
one of the most beautiful states he's ever been in.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And he was reminding me of that.
Wow.
And that was an interesting thing that we were sitting at the dinner table and I was like, you know, living there, it's almost as if you can, you know, I think there was an episode of Anthony Bourdain where he was looking out at like the Rockies and some guy had a ranch that overlooked them or something.
Oh man.
And he was like, do you find the beauty in this every day, or do you sort of like forget about it and take advantage of it? And he said, sorely, I kind of take advantage of that and I forget.
Yeah.
He said, I've lived here for like 30 years and I walk outside and I forget what you just said you saw.
Yeah.
And so it took her dad, we were sitting at the dinner table and I can't remember what I said, but I said something about like the weather or something like that. And he was like, man, it's such a beautiful space, you know, such a beautiful spot to be in. And it brought it all back to me. And I was like, oh yeah, it really is. You know?
Yeah.
And when I go back now, however many years ago that was, 4 or 5, something, when I go back now during any of the seasons, I remember that quote and I remember him saying it, like, remember the beauty. You can never forget about the beauty.
Yeah.
And never forget to take, you know, don't take advantage of some of the stuff. You know, I run across the Brooklyn Bridge almost every day.
Right.
And I'm always reminding myself about the beauty of it.
Yeah.
There's a great documentary about the creation of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Really?
That's like Modern Marvels.
Oh.
And they take you through the very beginnings of when all these guys went in these pylons underneath the water, and they were all in there shoveling coal and, you know, digging all this stuff, and the work that went in there to make the Brooklyn Bridge, and all of the things over the course of all those years that came to create this marvel that we know, that we kind of just have in the background in New York now.
Yeah.
It's like, when you watch that, it re-puts in perspective, like, man, that is a stunning feat.
Yeah, man.
That thing was made so long ago, and it's still just as good as it is. You know, there's other structures that have since crumbled. But that thing is a masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's those things that you cannot forget.
It contextualizes it for you, right? It becomes
really
like
does.
special. I mean, when you're watching it be built from like nothing, you learn how it's built from, and the generations of people that like lived and worked and like went there every day and like put brick on mortar and like created the bridge, man. For us to just, you know, drive through and like forget is even there. Like, of course, or run through, you know. And
something as seemingly simple as just the Brooklyn Bridge, if you were to just look at it and I were to take you there for the first time and have you stand underneath it and go, you hadn't seen that documentary yet. And I said, wait till you see the story that goes behind this huge thing. Right. And just and then see what, you know, your reaction to what that is, and then have you revisit the bridge.
Yes.
You look at it with a whole new set of eyes, you know?
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of things that are pretty amazing about both Minnesota and, you know, living in New York. I mean, it's such I feel very lucky to be able to, you know, toggle between the two of them. But like as you know, speaking of like architecture, things like that, I used to, I've lived here, you know, like I was saying, 10 years. I was able to see the World Trade Center start at the bottom and come up. So there was a while where I actually visited it probably once every couple months. I would just go there just to look at the progress. And so like I have in my memory every
Yeah.
couple
Wow.
steps that thing has had.
Wow.
And I remember when there was nothing there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And if you're to look at it now, they've got that huge transportation hub that looks like an old like dinosaur coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that stuff wasn't there. And so it's amazing to be able to see the beauty of what they created out of such a tragic thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like we were saying, everything has that story.
Yeah.
Truly.
Everything has a story.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
my son, I'll be able to tell, you know, when he's 16 years old or however old, just we go there and I'm like, this is the story behind this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up again, not just the beginnings
Yeah.
of what happened, but aftermath.
Yeah.
I visited this thing all
Yeah.
the time and watched it come up again.
Right.
Rise from the ashes.
Yeah, bro.
It's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I found this guy that I think it was a documentary, but he basically has been time lapsing New York, like all different, like from his apartment. He's been living the same thing for like over 30 years.
Uh-huh.
And he's been time lapsing his dedicated camera and computer, and he like programmed it to compile it all together.
Yeah.
And it's just like for the past like 30 years.
Oh man,
Just
that's
straight.
cool. That's pretty cool. I'd love to
It's
see that.
insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really cool. I gotta plug that. I'll put that in the
Time-lapses are
description.
nuts. And when people
I
do
was
that-
so obsessed with this.
Yeah. I watched a kid
love
like age on a time lapse one
Oh,
time.
I hate those. They do a picture every day.
Yeah. You hate them?
Man. They just scare
Bro.
me, dude. Because it's like,
I don't know if
Just
it's
shows how
scary or
fast time
what.
goes
Yeah,
by.
bro. I
Yeah.
think that's what it did. I was like,
Look
oh
at
man,
that,
this
man.
is a teenager turning into a young
Yeah.
man, turning into an adult.
Yep.
And I was just like in front of my eyes. And I was like, oh, that's how quick life is, huh?
yep.
If you did it in snapshots, that's how quick
yeah.
life is. It just shook me. I remember watching. I'm like, oh, he's got a full beard. This is. I rewound it, and it's like kid face. I'm
Yep,
like,
right?
Time is a crazy thing, man.
This is crazy.
Time is a crazy thing.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about
Yeah.
something that it just kind of sparked off
Yeah.
of Minnesota and going back. That feeling of like you said, like when I return home, that what he said is in my head, and I look at Minnesota now as this beautiful state, right? Like what is it? Is it nostalgic now because you're away from it? Do you feel like you go back and you experience this place with nostalgia and with like because you're no longer the same age you were when you came from this place, and the people who you lived with may no longer be there, but the place holds some kind of meaning to you. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a little bit of both, I guess.
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah.
I
wonder what that is. I mean, is it just nostalgia? I don't know.
My
Nostalgia's
family
crazy,
is my family's growing a lot now in terms of my family in Minnesota. You know, I've got one brother with a daughter, and then another brother with one, and then he's got another one on the way.
Shout out all the family.
So it's the kids are now all very young, and that family's growing. So it's taking a new kind of shape. So it's like I'm at one point when I was going back when I was younger, it was just like I'm going back to see my parents and then these friends, and you got certain pit stops you got to make. Now it's like I'm going back. Oh, I get to see my brother's kids, and it's a new thing. So but you're also going to spots that you've grown up in as
a kid,
as you always were experiencing as a kid in your hometown.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both. So it's a little of the old and the new.
Yeah.
But the new, the way that can be shaped is so beautiful because you're like, oh, I get to go see this.
Yeah.
And you're living in another state for specific things. So for work and stuff like that. But you can't help but in the back of your mind think like, if I could just stay here, I would.
Yeah.
If all the cards just lined up. But like, life takes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans.
Yes,
So it's
dude.
like you're doing stuff all the time, and I would love to live in Hawaii. I'd love to live in Minnesota, New York. If I could just be a million places at once, I would. So many things are simultaneously pulling you all over the place. So I wish I could just clone myself and just live everywhere.
Live everywhere, yeah.
And have that share one brain.
Yeah.
But you go with it and you just kind of like take day by day.
Right.
And you're like, I get to see these people today. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to soak that up.
Yep.
I'm going to soak up, that with 100% of my awareness, my being.
Yeah.
And I get to, see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's great. One of my brothers has one on the way right now.
Beautiful.
Oh, wow.
So
shout out, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's great.
Yeah, congrats.
God bless.
You want to know something crazy?
Yeah.
What?
Speaking of nostalgia stuff, I'm officially moving out
Oh,
in February. Right?
Mikey's
Finally
Yeah.
moving out.
Mikey's
You got to
out
play
the
you got to
house,
play
dude.
Billy Joel when you do.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's what's
Yeah,
up.
dude.
But weird thing is, I'm moving back to the house I grew up in.
Now that's some nostalgia factor
that.
right there, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Wow.
My parents have been renting it out.
So,
But,
how old were you when you moved out of that house?
I think 10. I'm gonna say 10. My brother's gonna correct me, so wait for that. I think
Shout out
10.
Sebastian, love you.
But it was like I loved like that house, and like the memories I had there
yeah.
were very like sentimental to me.
Right.
With like my grandmother taking care of me.
Right.
And the funniest thing is like I'm moving back in the same. It's like a multi, resident kind of house. And where I'm moving in that same one.
Yeah.
And like back then it seemed so big, so huge. Like I literally lived in like a closet with a bunk bed.
Yeah, dude.
With me and my brother.
Yeah.
And it felt like the world.
No, dude, I get it.
Yeah.
I absolutely
And like,
get it.
and I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to probably be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But it's still an awesome place.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing too is like my house I'm in right now, like my parents planning to get out of there,
Right.
move on with other stuff while I leave. My brother's in Japan. You know what I mean? Like things are moving along.
Yeah.
I gotta figure some stuff out. But they're like, oh, like you can take some of like the furniture and stuff from that, and like that furniture has traveled from that old house and it's going back
to that house.
Wow.
This is a ghost
Look at
story.
that, man.
This is crazy.
It's kind of crazy.
Man. Yeah, that's a trip.
You know?
Absolutely.
I think, yeah, man. There's something,
But I kind of like that. I don't know. I like the
I
feeling.
can
I'm
see
like,
you,
it
dude.
sounds so weird.
There's something about my mom. My mom now lives in the house that I grew up in with my sisters, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't lived there in 12 years, 11 years, 12 years. And every time I go back, without fail, this like wind of nostalgia hits me, right?
Yeah.
And the place is so much smaller than I remember, dude.
Right.
So much smaller. It was like a World War II, like at the towards the end of World War II, in this place in Lommel Park, they built these homes, these 2-family homes, and they're basically like like bigger trailer spaces. Like they're just not big homes, and they're divided in half, and one family. And I remember growing up, and I was like, my bedroom is huge. Like we got this big hallway, right? And like look at our giant dining room. And
You're running around,
and
climbing. And
I get a smell or something. Or the tree I used to look up in when I would lay down on the grass. Like it's still there. The wires are still. It's still cutting through the wires, and like the smell of the place is the same. And the backyard is just a little bit overgrown, but it's the same backyard. And I remember like all these things hit me like a wave of nostalgia and take me right back.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I wonder what that is. I mean, I know we put the word nostalgia on it, and it's like this emotional regression of like feeling something great or something tugging at you, a call to your past from being in the place you were in your past, and it holds meaning. But that feeling is so hard to like recreate. Like,
yeah,
you always have that home you grew up in, even if it's like gone. It's still like alive in you somewhere.
Yeah. I'm like a hyper visual person, and so like if I see something, that's nostalgic like that, like it can all come back in a snap. I drive back by the old place that I used to live pretty much almost every time that I visit Minnesota.
Wow.
It's a pretty short drive, but like I'm always like, I'm going to go take the car out for a little drive, and I'll just go by myself and I'll drive past that.
Yeah.
And I'll go drive by there almost every time.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe 6 months since I did last time, but I'm never not going to do that because it just brings everything back.
You get hit with
We lived on this little cul-de-sac, and, my dad had this photography studio in there, and, I used to have a sledding hill in the back.
Wow.
And it all comes back.
Yeah.
The people that the kids I used to play with around there, and, it all is there.
Yeah.
And so like, I love, driving back there and having that hit me and just kind of like, I bet to the people that are around, they're always like, why is this creepy guy driving around slowly through this every like 6 months or so?
Yep.
Shows up again, this weirdo.
Speaking of creepy, it's like if you go back to your old school,
right?
Yeah.
And you drive past that, and you're like, man, I remember I used to sit on that and just like play around.
Had lunch here, like talk to this person here about this thing.
Yep.
There's man.
Yeah.
Nostalgia's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Being in the place and then having that wave hit you of like familiarity to the space and then connecting and going back.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
There's one moment where and when we moved out of that house, I was in 5th grade, and there was a moment where it really hit me for the first time as a kid. Mm-hmm. This house is not mine anymore. Oh. We had moved out. We moved to the new spot. Everything was moved, and I think like, I can't remember the timeline anymore. Maybe it was a week later. Mm-hmm. We went back to grab a couple things from like a shed or something. Me, my dad, mom, my brothers. It was probably a random Saturday afternoon, and I remember seeing like the door was unlocked, but none of the cars were in the driveway. I didn't think anybody was home, right. And so I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm gonna run up there and I'm gonna look at my old room one more time.
Yeah.
So wow. I opened the door and I ran up the stairs, and I was right about to go to my old room, and one of the like teenage kids who was living in that house was just sitting on the couch watching TV. And as I start booking it towards my room, I just see him, and he looks over and goes, "Hey." It scared the absolute shit out of me. I ran down that stairs so fast, I almost fell all the way down it. And I got out, and I was like, oh man, that house is not mine anymore for sure. Yeah. Like that's the thing. Yeah. That's the moment where someone else has just taken over this spot.
Yeah.
He's got my room.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
It's done.
Yeah. You got to set up your home somewhere else now.
Yeah. And as a kid, it's such a weird feeling, you've only known that spot. Mm-hmm. So now you got to go somewhere new.
Yeah.
This is new.
Yeah. I remember bouncing around, mm-hmm. like when the few times I had to bounce around my mother, because I lived with my mother till I was 18. My parents are separated, divorced. I don't know why I said separated. But yeah, we would bounce around a few times, and then we set up camp at this one place in Elma Park. So it was the same town, just different house. And it was hard leaving because I lived with my grandparents. That's the home that my mother lives in now. That's like my home. When I think of like the original home for me was that. But this new home I tried to make my home. And I remember like the feeling of like, oh, we're getting kicked out of this home. And I was like, and I had the same kind of feeling of like, but this is my home now. So I don't want anyone else to live it. This is my home. And I was a kid. I was like a teenager. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, man, this is mine though, man. This is my spot. I mow the lawn here. Yeah.
But how fun is it to find, once you realize there's that new home, especially as a kid, all right, how am I going to make this mine? Yeah. What am I going to do to plant my roots in this spot?
Yeah. I guess, man.
There is that totally. Little thing that the roots start to come in, the seeds start to get planted, and you're like, all right, this is my spot. And now you're moving back to that spot, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. What do I do then?
You got to make more roots.
Are you afraid?
Not really, no.
Good, man.
No. I'm like, one of the reasons too I want to do is I want to like kind of fix it up. It's an older home. I want to fix some things.
So, that's
make it a nice place.
There you go. That's
the setup roots.
You as the adult.
What I always do though is like,
that's how you plant those roots.
Like I remember for when I moved into my house I'm living in now, like, and I do this every couple of years. I just like, I take everything out the room, I paint it all, I switch everything, and I just like put new shit in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just like, I don't know, switch it up.
Yeah.
Would have been really great if fifth grade me looked at my dad and was like, I'm gonna fix some things up in here.
I think maybe like I did that.
This a little bit.
I think it was just me being forced to
change that a little bit there,
It's like paint your room.
I gotta plant my roots here,
Is that dad?
If I said that to my dad as a kid, I'm like, all right, like how you're saying is like adult you. I'm like, that's I'm gonna redo some of this stuff here.
Yeah.
Paint.
That's I was like quite fearful, bro. Like as a kid, like moving around, I was like afraid. I feel like to like the set up roots thing wasn't like I can't wait. It was like this is scary, bro. This change thing, I'm not good with this, man. I'm trying to make a foundation so I can control everything. And like the second it's like you have no control as a kid. Let's be real. Mm-hmm. And your parents choose where you go, and then like you're in a new place, and you're the setting up roots thing is like something you just take on. For me, it was like something I had to take on, but it was like I resisted it. I was like, "Fuck, man!" I get angry. I'd like lash out. I would like, just irrational shit because I was pretty fearful of like, But I like this. This is my home, man. Yeah. This is my home. It's not going to be the same. And it's like you're right. It's not.
The way that I dealt with that, which was really weird to think back on now. It was a distance where I could bike to it. And it was a house that was being built from the bottom up.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to bike there whenever I wanted to. So from the beginnings, and which is a weird parallel between
I was just going to say.
With what I said about the World Trade Center, but I would bike there all the time, and I would watch the construction guys and just walk around inside the skeleton as they were making it, and I'd hang out, and then I would also walk around it after they left, and just walk around the basement, and I would take my friends in there, and we would like walk around and hang out, and it was, as a kid, you're thinking like, oh, this is just fun. Yeah. But as an adult, you think like, I think this is me making myself comfortable for moving to a new spot. I'm getting comfortable. I'm walking around. I'm seeing this get built up. Yeah. And I'm being like, okay, this is cool. And the construction guys loved having me there. They would just, talk to me and give me some snacks and stuff like that. Wow. And it was really fun. It was a fun experience to see that I, will never have had again. Wow. Seeing the house that I then lived in from that year, like 95, I think, to when I moved out, it was like that, that was a special thing. Yeah. I got to see that and have that memory of that being up. Yeah. And it was like such an interesting thing to be able to bike there and just like hang out in what was going to be my room. Yeah. And it was just a frame. Right. And I was like, this is what I'm going to choose.
This is my view. This is what it's going to be.
This is going to be mine. Yeah. And it was.
Yeah. That's incredible, man. That's a really cool experience.
I made sure I called mine before my other two brothers because they couldn't bike there.
They're too young? They were too little?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Claimed. Older brother. Are you the oldest brother?
Yeah. I have one brother who's 5 years and one 7 years.
Got you.
Yeah. So I'm definitely the oldest.
Would you say the youngest brother is the scrappiest of the bunch or no?
I would say yeah.
Definitely. See, remember we talked about this last week. The younger brother, better. I feel like
usually always.
I feel like younger is the scrappier because they got to survive, right? I want to do one thing real quick because I set a reminder on my phone. I want to do a shout out to my boy that comes in the fine grind who reached out. I see him all the time. We never really spoke. But shout out Christian. Dude comes out to our job and we see each other, say what's up. I didn't know his name. I didn't know who he was actually, but he reached out and he was really vulnerable and was just like, hey man, just want to say I love the podcast, keep doing your thing. And you were really supportive and it was just a really cool moment. So I just want to say thank you for that, dude, and shout out to you. And yeah, keep listening, bro.
Big shout out. Thank you, man.
We love you, dog. Thank you.
I see you.
Yeah, we do see you.
Next Me too. I see you.
Yeah, he sees you too. So shout out Christian. Eric. Shout out a few more people.
Ooh.
Miss Debbie Lommel, Mrs. Debbie Lommel.
Boom.
And little Desi Lommel.
Mm-hmm.
So my boy over here is a father.
Yeah, I want to get into some of that stuff.
Yeah,
no.
Funny story, Eric.
I'm still looking.
So the thing about that is
still on hunt.
Yeah. Not for a while. Take your time. So you're a father, dude.
Yeah.
I was talking to you all day about this already, but like
I just found out right now.
You just found out?
I did not know.
Well, Desi's too, man. You missed some time. No, you're actually like a really great father. Like what I've seen.
You, man.
Yeah,
thank
dude,
you.
For real. I've seen Desi and at parties and stuff, and I always say he's like the most well-behaved child I've ever seen at like an adult function.
He's a partier, man.
Yeah, dude. He's got his little dude. You got to see. He's got a little fold-out like beach seat, and he's like chilling with the adults, and like just got his little like book, and he's just rolling through his book.
Nothing like it, man. Dude, there's nothing like it.
What is it like to be what was that moment where you looked at your son and you're like, oh, holy shit, I am now a parent? And what shifted in you, if anything did?
It changed, and I can actually, crazy enough, feel the second that it did.
Wow.
And it was the minute that I'm holding Debbie's hand. She's going through, we're in the hospital. And we were told that it was going to be like a good hour of like
labor
until he comes out in terms of the labor. Which it was not. So I had my camera so I could grab it and it was all ready.
Oh, you filmed it?
It was on my right. Just took pictures.
Gotcha. Oh, okay,
so
okay.
I knew that if I stood there and I was grabbing her hand, I had it all ready.
How do you recorded it?
I don't know. Some people do.
Some people do, yeah.
Some people do.
One of my buddies recorded on a GoPro.
Scared.
So you never know.
On a GoPro, he did?
Yeah, he did a GoPro.
Really? He just has it on his head. He's like,
from my perspective, I had the camera all ready so that I could just sort of, when he came out, I could just grab it and just do this.
Yeah.
And just sort of just start shooting away.
Yeah.
But they said, it was going to be a while and like good hour. So plan for just like good hour. And, we're going through it. And I think it was like 20 minutes or something like that. So I'm holding her hand and.
Yeah, how does one plan?
Well, they do in terms of whatever the science is there.
The dilation.
Yeah.
And
but
they're like, just sit tight. Might be an hour.
So and we're all ready with the breathing and stuff. And then all of a sudden, before my mind can even wrap itself around the fact that he's there and he's being lifted out and they're like, here he is. And he's just there. And it was almost as if the feeling that I would equate to it is if you came and sort of just like emotionally just punched me right in the chest because it's so jarring, right? Because you're realizing so many things at the same time. And it's so your happiest moment of your life and it's so emotional. It just really, allowed me to see my life from here's before him and here's now after him. Whoa, and I know that I'm a completely different person now.
Yeah.
Very, very different.
Yeah.
And the change reverberates like a butterfly effect. So 2 years later, the change has rippled through me in a way where I'm like, whoa, that's different. That's different. That's different. Thoughts, actions,
right.
So much.
Right.
It's so different in so many ways. And so like back to when he came out, I just remember being like, whoa, there he is. Just grabbing the camera and being like, just shooting away. But it caught me so off guard and I was like, this is so nuts. And there's so many people around you,
right,
doing their jobs. And that was one of the most beautiful things ever to see because I was strangely able to remove myself from kind of like step outside myself and remember watching each person do their job.
Whoa.
I'm surprised at that because I'm surprised it wasn't as much of a blur as I thought it would be.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember a lot from it. And there's, the woman next to me with taking him out and doing the cord thing. There's people grabbing him, taking him out, people on the feet, people on the other side doing all their jobs. And I'm watching them. And it's like, this is a team right here.
Yeah.
It has to be a well-oiled machine to be able to work.
Bring a life.
And I mean, that's another thing I feel lucky about is that the team was so great.
Yeah.
And you would hope and wish, and sadly is not the case. Not everybody has a great team like that. And so things go wrong. And we were at NYU.
Shout out NYU.
And
Perfect.
so I really take such a visceral feeling in my head of thinking like, well, this is what I went through. I really wish everybody would go through that. Yeah. And you want them to have a great experience,
Yeah.
And because it's a heavy thing. Yeah. It's so much going on.
Yeah.
No.
And there's so many things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Truly.
Sure.
It's a scary thing too. Because
it's terrifying.
You're hoping in the moments before that, the days before that.
Yeah.
When the water breaks, like I just pray that everything goes well.
Yeah.
I just, it has to. And so you just, really hope for the best and try to do everything you can do to be just there.
Yeah.
Just be present, as the guy,
How can you like describe the, cause I hear like a lot of different stories, right? And one of the things I always hear is like, after you're done, right? After everything, baby's out, everything's fine. And like, now they're like, all right, you're good to go home. And like, how do you describe that feeling of just like, you're in the car going home, like what?
You're a little unit now.
So one thing that we did, we have a dog as well.
Yes.
So one thing that we did do is wrapped him in the blanket and then took the blanket off, gave that to our dog before I went home. So I took an extra trip so that he was getting the scent.
Yeah.
So we did that. And then, went back to the hospital for the day. We did that like a day before we went home.
Right.
So he had the blanket. He could just lay in it, sleep in it and everything. We went back to the hospital, stayed there for an extra day. And then when we went home, it was so weird because you're being cared for by so many people who are coming in every 2 seconds and being like, okay, this test.
Did that drive you nuts with the baby getting poked and the baby getting...
No, it's not always poked because sometimes they're just checking and lots of different things. And they're just watching them and stuff like that. Didn't bother me because I knew that that's what they had to do. Right. I'm just happy that they're doing... I knew that their job is what their job was. So it didn't bother me at all in that way. But then you get to the flip side where they say, you can go home now. And I'm like, whoa, wait, are you all not coming with me?
Yeah, do I have 8 of you?
Yeah, right.
Back you guys
we have this at home?
Beers for everybody. Come with. And they're not, though. So we thankfully had Debbie's mom there for the month.
There you go.
She stayed with us, which was really great. It was an absolute godsend because you don't know. You, like they always say with parents, you have no idea.
Yep.
There's no book. And I started reading a book maybe like a couple months before he was born. And I read a couple pages and I was like, what is the point of this?
Yeah.
Because there is no book.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me just ride this wave.
There's no way to do
There's
this,
no way that I'm going to know. So let me just ride it.
Yeah.
And just take this day by day and learn.
Yeah.
And so that month was the three of us just like doing it. Taking them around and like, just learning what
trial
we need to do.
Right? Like,
every bit of trial and error.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy how memorable that is now. Thinking back to it 2 years ago, it was like, let's say if I were to say to the two of you, think back to maybe last November on just a random month.
Okay.
You probably wouldn't have a lot of like really visceral memories of anything that happened in that month except for like a holiday or something.
Yeah.
But if I were to think back to that first month of the birth, every single one of those 30 days were an absolute like new thing, so every one of those days during that first month is something. Yeah. They go through so many changes. And now that I've had other friends with kids, I always message them and I'm like, what about these changes, right? When they're in that first month, the face, you start to see the face shape. Whoa. Every day there's a little bit more. The face comes into play. Yeah. It gets molded. It becomes something. Goes beyond what was constricted inside and kind of like having just that sort of generic baby look. He's there. And all of a sudden he's looking at you and you're like, okay, all right, here we go. Here we go, man.
Holy shit!
Here it is.
I'm in awe of that month. That's got to be unlike any other thing you'll ever go through in your life.
Ever. Yeah.
It
really is.
It
was the first, so it really is. Even if I had another one, nothing like that first one.
Shout out to Debbie. Big shout out.
It's great.
You have a lovely wife, and I knew her a bit beforehand, and we were familiar with each other. And she's always been such a pleasant person to me. And like anyone, she meets Mike and be the same thing. I'm sure she's just a very genuinely kind, warm ray of light type of person.
Yeah. Hates your guts, actually.
Oh, shit. Well, Debbie, you mask it well. You're a better actor than I. When she became became a mother, like I watch her with Desi, like in these little times we share, like when everyone comes around. You're the same way, but like I've seen you guys become great parents, and I'm just like it's just like you had it in you the whole time, and like I just had we had no idea until it happens.
Yeah, that's you. I'm glad that's how that comes off.
For sure. I mean, he's climbing all over you guys, and you got books, and you're reading them to him at the same time, and feeding him the good foods, and he loves everything you guys. I don't know. I'm catching these little. I'm just a spectator, like I'm on the outside looking in, but in these little windows of time, I get to share with you guys. Like, I'm just like, man, they're fucking great parents. Like, you have this little family unit, and you guys seem to be doing just a great job, like trial and error, but it really seems to be working well for you guys. Yeah, it's really cool to see. When it's your friends, it's really cool.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we're really trying to just surround them with positivity and positivity, music, learning. Just just surrounding him with that. And that's our key. That's our goal, you know, for these years. And just saying like, hey man, you're in the world. Let's just go through each of these experiences together.
Absolutely,
man. We got it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's one thing, let's say Desi is 18 years old today, and he goes back to this little YouTube video or podcast or whatever, and he's looking at you. What's one thing you'd want to tell 18-year-old Desi on his 18th birthday?
I hope you move your ass out. Hope you moved out by now, man.
Get out early. Get on out of here.
Get on out of here.
I said get.
Happy birthday, son.
Oh man, what's one thing I'd want to tell him?
Yeah, one thing you'd want to tell Desi.
Oh well, I mean, just right off the bat, like you, at least for now, where he is now, grew up in New York City, which is crazy. There was a point where we were years ago saying like, we will never have a kid in New York. Because we hated seeing the strollers and we just didn't think it was doable.
Right.
We really didn't.
It looks hard.
Until we started to have other friends with them and they showed us it's doable. And then as time goes by and all of a sudden you find yourself there and having him, it's like, well, I am here now. So I don't have a choice anymore right now. So you have to just adapt to it. And I would say like, I would actually ask him, like, as he grows up, however long he ends up staying here, like, what was that like for you?
Wow.
You know, because I'd really want to have a conversation about the stimuli that he experienced in a place where he's growing up in an opposite spot than I did. He's not growing up in a cul-de-sac across from a field where, you know, I have a tree fort in the backyard. Like, there's a difference there. So I really, you know, curious what that's like.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Because that's not something I experienced. So that's what I would say.
Whoa.
I think a kid growing up in New York is like, I feel like that really builds you up. You know, to be strong. Like a lot of things.
I'm sure. I was watching a kid today walk with a backpack to school before rehearsal.
You see those kids over there just running around crossing
42nd Street in front of taxis and stuff, and just like in his khakis, like on his way to school. And I remember being his age, and I'm thinking back, and I'm like, I was at a bus stop on a cul-de-sac. Yeah. And there was like a mailbox, and I waited for the little yellow bus, like, and then it would just fucking take me to school. And I remember like comparing, and I was just like, man, how different would my life be if I grew up in a city as opposed to a little suburb? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited for whatever Desi's life
and wherever that goes. Yeah, I'm very excited too. You know?
That conversation will be cool.
The day by day, you know.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely.
Wow, man. It's good to be alive, boys.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Whoa, I just got a jolt.
When are you having a kid, dude?
9 months, dude. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, no, not yet.
Do you want to be a father?
I do. Innately, I do.
Me too, man.
Instinctually, something's like calling.
I recently had a coworker say like I could see you being like good dad.
Yeah.
I think you guys would be
for sure.
You guys got it.
Thanks.
Would be very good.
I appreciate that, man. I have another poem for you guys. This is the poetry corner. I thought about.
I have a couple questions too.
Yeah. Let me just. You want?
Okay, let's go through.
Okay.
No, we'll do a little poem. We'll take a little break.
I got the page number. Hold on. Here we go. This is for all my people out there who are chasing something like Eric and I are in the process of just living the thing we want to do with our lives, like we all are. We're passionate about things, art. We're passionate about careers that we hope to be doing really well in for our families, for ourselves. And it's easy to get down on yourself. And this poem from Atticus really just kind of helped me this morning. So I'm just going to share it. Put your hand on your heart. In you, there is a power. There are ideas no one has ever thought of. There's the strength to love purely and intensely and to be loved back. There's the power to make people happy and to make people laugh. The power to change lives and futures. Don't ever forget that power and don't ever give up on it. Just a little reminder.
Nice. Truth.
Yeah.
Man, I got to get this book.
It's the motivator,
dude. You can have it if you want.
Written by Atticus Finch. Wow.
Atticus Finch, dude. Let's Kill a Mockingbird.
Man. Nice. This is really
really?
cool.
Yeah.
No, not actually.
Not really.
I love you, dude. No, this dude Atticus, I think, is like a more like a hit modern poet.
Yeah.
Like an Instagram poet.
Okay.
And he's kind of doing his thing now. He's like popping off. And I'm on the fence about Instagram posts, but I like his shit. Sometimes, I've been thinking about the stars a lot lately, And this called to me. I had it for a while, and then I dove back into it recently. And
I see you going in and out of that book.
Yeah, this one. I mean, right now it's been like pulling me for sure. So check it out. I'll give it to you if you want to borrow it.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. You got questions?
One thing I wanted to ask you, Eric, is you're talking about like you mentioned being a brother and like that relation. Is there anything from that relationship with like your brother and your family that you like? What would you say like helps you being like a father?
Oh well, I mean, my own dad. Yeah, I have a very great relationship with my dad. So he has inspired me to be here right now. I mean, I wouldn't be without him. Yeah. I'd say about like halfway through my time in New York, I like sort of I had a dormant love of photography that I hadn't really tapped into much. I dabbled, but then I really got into it about halfway when I started to find that I could do the day and age changed. I could do an affordable studio. I could get a camera, stuff like that. That was kind of inaccessible to me at that time when I moved. And so it gave my dad and I a new relationship to be like, well, Dad, how can I reach out to you with this question? And he's really always instilled in me just the drive to push myself to whatever length I have to find what I want to do, learn it to the best of my ability. Yeah. Never sit on rest on my laurels in any way. Yeah. You know, and that's what I feel like I'm going to push, Desi to do it in the best way that I can. Yeah. Because that's what was given to me. Yeah. So that's my biggest thing. And I know that he's done the same thing with my brothers too. Yeah. I have, 2 brothers who I love so much. And so shout out. My relationship with my family, to me, I feel very lucky that it's as good as it is. So, absolutely. And it's because my dad created a great household for all of us.
There's something about a father and son dynamic, dude. I don't know. I mean, it's unlike anything else. All relationships are, but like a father and son is such a strong bond if it's like taken care of. And I was talking about this to Nick Craven today. Shout out Nick Craven. Good luck on your audition right now, bro. I know you're crushing it, and we're all sending good vibes. Let's hold hands for a second. Oh yeah, hold hands for a second.
Good vibes.
Send good vibes to Nicky right now. You got this, brother.
Send them
good vibes. But the bond between a father and a son is so strong. Is there like one phrase that your father told you that has stuck with you throughout your life that kind of rings in your head, like in your father's voice? Yeah. What would that thing be?
It was the second that I was going to pull away in the U-Haul. Well, not the second, I guess. The 30 minutes before, probably.
How old were you?
It was 10 years ago. Before I was going to go, to New York.
Yeah.
When I was going to go in the U-Haul to New York, and he stopped me, and I had just gotten done pulling the gate down in the back. And he just said, just so you know, not everything's going to go the way you want it to go. So just ride it. And it was something I think about all the time because it doesn't go exactly where you think it's going to go.
Never.
Could I have ever predicted any of the stuff that's happened to me in the next 10 years at that moment? 2-year-old son now. I wasn't married then. And I had just started dating Debbie at that point. So we were very new. Wow. That could have ended. Many things. I've gone to 2 schools in New York since then. Yeah. So, none of those were planned. Yeah. I didn't know.
Photography became something.
Meeting you guys, I would never have known.
Yeah, for sure.
So, finding this new love for photography and doing it in my own way. Yeah. Finding the way that I like to shoot and learn that way. What I want to shoot, meshing that with a career in screenwriting, acting, directing, all that kind of stuff. Meshing those all together and having those outlets. There's a very strong possibility that, after he said not all things are going to go like you think they're going to go, there's a strong possibility that it could have fallen apart and I would have had to deal with that in that way. It could have actually come to a point where I'm like, I cannot stay here anymore. Very early on. There were a lot of people that I knew that had moved here from Minnesota and then they moved back for all various reasons. And so, you really never know. And so so that's, I think, what I've taken for my own son to be able to say, as life goes on,
Yeah.
it's not going to go. Just ride the wave that you're given, make the best of it. And I think the most important thing is to stay positive, stay really as positive as possible.
Yeah.
You know, it's so easy in this world to get cynical about things,
easy, man.
but like, you know, whether it be what's going on in the world, like either politically or environmentally, to take that and go, I see there's a darkness on there, and how can I swing it to the positive for myself?
Wow.
And that's what I've tried to do.
Yeah.
Swing it to the positive. Be optimistic about what you can do to create the upswing from any of that.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a lot. That's awesome. That goes to Desi at 18 too, man. If you're watching this, Des, happy birthday again. That's really great, dude. That's a great message right there, man. That's like you do your little part to take care of your life and like take ownership of it, and to stay in the positive as often as you can. And you will not have, the plan will not happen the way you hope.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right. It almost never does. And
and it's sometimes better.
Sometimes, and it's man. It really
It's
opens the door
hopefully
for
better.
a beautiful thing. Sometimes,
Yeah.
truly. That's awesome, dude. Wow, man. That's beautiful, man. I don't even know what to say to that.
Or it's your ability to look at the stars between the dark. See?
Oh,
Flip it around.
flip it around there.
See?
Like, see?
Gotta see the stars between the darkness, man.
See? Atticus, bro.
You know what I want to do?
What do you want
Got a
to
little
do?
surprise.
You got a surprise for us?
Big bro sent the question.
Sebastian sent a question
Yeah.
for us? Oh, man.
Little video question.
Oh, we got a video question, dude. Check this
All right.
out. Look at this. Look at this. Are you going to show this on the pod too?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully you guys can hear this.
Let's check it out. Little fading. Oh my God, he's a ghost.
Dude. He disappeared.
You're one handsome dude.
Oh, hey there, you are your podcast. It's your boy Sebastian coming at you with another video question. I know it's been a while, but after the last episode, I'm well aware of how I've been slacking. And as a member of the You Are Here Ride or Die
That's
crew,
right.
I feel I should make it up
He's
to
really
you all.
professional about this.
Right?
So, today's question is, what's the best piece of advice that you have ever received?
Whoa.
Or maybe if it wasn't the best, maybe one that impacted your life in a significant way, and maybe you were able to apply it in some type of way that, you know, was resourceful to you. So, I'd love to hear what you guys have to share. Maybe it could help some other people. So, and as always, I appreciate what you guys are doing.
That's my brother.
I still watch every week, you know, release day while I cook dinner, of course. And yeah, I'm loving it. Appreciate Dave. Appreciate Mike. One thing I want to say before I go is I would love for people who watch the podcast to maybe engage. I'd love to hear from
Yeah, call them out.
in the YouTube
Call 'em out.
comments. So if you're on YouTube, you know, drop a comment on the podcast. I'll be in there. I'll say something.
This is our PR right
Maybe
here.
drop a comment telling Dave that you appreciate him, or maybe drop a comment telling him that he ain't so great at basketball.
Boom.
Maybe, hey man.
What's up, dog?
Alright. Anything you want to share, maybe ask a question. So, just wanted to say that, if you're a member of the You Are Here Ride or Die crew,
Yo, look what he added, dude.
just get with
This is some
get in
old
there.
ass footage.
Alright guys, I gotta go.
That's you,
Got
bro.
things to do. Until next time.
Love you, Sebastian. Look at you,
Dude.
bro.
Dude, wow. I'm pretty impressed with that video.
Wow,
He really put that together.
Thanks, Sebastian.
I like that
appreciate
cheersing at the end there. That was pretty great.
Dude, that was like a long time ago.
Wow.
I'm so pissed to put
That's
that in.
Wow, Sebastian.
Um,
I love you, bro.
Long ass question. Thanks so much.
I love
But he also wanted to add, we kind of answered the question kind of throughout the podcast with some of the stuff you said and you. But he said for himself, he said, for me, I think the best advice or thing that stuck with me that someone said is, if you follow your heart, you can't be wrong. If you really wanted something and you were sure that you wanted it, you can't regret it. Because at the time you wanted it, and for me that connected to my intuition way more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That instinct, man. Trust the gut.
Trust the gut, dude. At the end of the day, if scientifically, like what we're told is we live a life, one, just a jumble of organs and like consciousness, right? If that's the basis of this thing, then why not spend the time that we don't know how much of we have doing the things that we love to do? If it isn't hurting other people, if it is causing, joy to ourselves, and if we're supported by others and supportive of others, like take care of each other and also like support that we have these passions that we want to pursue. I don't quite see the purpose of chasing a dollar. I used to, but I think I have a foundation, and thank God I have like people who say, like, I believe in you and I support you, and do what you love with the time you have, man, because you're not going to be here at some point. Yeah. Sebastian, I think that you should truly, keep investigating and keep digging. I know we talk sometimes briefly, but keep digging at the things that light you up, man.
Yes.
And that are truths, that are laws in your fiber. Things that speak to you and you only, man. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. And like he said, life can change in an instant, dude. So, that's how I'm living my life from here on out. I'm gonna do my best of that. There is responsibilities, there's things you have to take care of, but don't give up those things you want to do with your time. You don't have a lot of it. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, Dave's actually very foolish. Chase $10,
not $8. You get a meal with 10.
Yeah, chase 10.
The dad jokes are coming.
But one thing that when he said that came to mind, the best form of advice, I would say that the thing that came up to me just very randomly, so I guess I'll, it sort of equates in this way. It's not so much of advice, but for me that came up, but what you were pushed to do. There was a school that I went to that when I first started in New York, that was a very intense conservatory. That was a 2-year program that, I was there, even weekends, no break, all summer for 2 years. Wow. And there was one point halfway through where it was getting really hard. And I was doing this scene for this teacher that I had who was extremely, extremely intense. And her name was Carol, and she would talk with this very theatrical voice. And I was told to come in with all the lines learned and could not mess up. And I didn't really take her that seriously in terms of that. I thought maybe I can make a mistake here or there, or hopefully I can. I didn't go thinking I was going to, but I didn't have the lines down as much as I thought I was going to. So I forgot a line. I just forgot one line. And she took me to another room. She handed me 2 paper balls, and the classes were 3 hours. I messed up the line. She took me to the room, made me throw the ball up in the air and just say all the lines in the scene over and over and over for those 3 hours is what she told me to do. She came back in an hour, and I was doing it. I was still going, but I guess she wanted to get like an extra 1-2 punch in there. And she made me lay on my back, and she stood above me, and she looked down and said, "If you're not going to memorize these lines, maybe you should be a director and not an actor. You're too technical, and you think that you're not going to memorize them." And just really went off. And I have that just so viscerally in my mind of her standing above me. I'm on the ground. Yeah. She's above me, yelling that down at me.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, okay. I was just so stunned.
Yeah.
And I got up again. She left the room. I got up again. And for the next 2 hours, I threw that ball in the air, memorized the lines, but I also memorized it with "Oh, really, motherfucker?" I'm not going to be a director, an actor. I'm going to be both.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do all that shit.
Yeah.
10 times over.
Yep.
And I don't care how long it takes me to do it. Because, those things, as intense as they are in the moment, they really fuel you to go, okay, I got to read that, take it in, and say to myself, this just happened in my life. You know, I could have just went, this is silly, this is stupid, and not taken it in.
Yeah.
But I took it in a big way and went, hey, I screwed up one line and you said I shouldn't. And you put me in that room. And now here I am. And I've gone through another school with you where I really grew. I've made films. I'm working on another film right now.
Shout out,
Got the photography going on. And I feel like it's those things that push, you know, if you really listen as an artist, as a human, to those things that are presented to you, where I feel like her doing that, standing above me and yelling that, I choose to interpret that as like, this person cared.
Oh man.
Had she not, would have let me skip the line, right?
Yeah. And it wouldn't
And
matter.
I wouldn't have really mattered. But I'm still talking about it almost 10 years later. So like, yeah, you got to let those things push you to where they should push you.
Absolutely.
Don't like brush off something that you may be scared in the moment. I mean, I was terrified in the moment of that.
Of course.
Nobody else was around me. It was just me.
Yeah.
You know, it makes me always wonder, like, what were the other guys getting in terms of their personal treatment? You'll never know. And what did they do with it? But, you know, that really pushed me.
Changed your life a bit. It shaped your life.
It definitely did. It added to one also being like, I'd only been in New York for half a year.
Right.
Probably not even at that moment. So I was like, oh wow, this is a new game.
Big leagues.
This is a totally new game that I'm playing here.
Yeah.
And can't mess around.
Yeah.
You know, so I put those things in everything. You know?
Yeah.
Those kind of things that people say to me like that. I'm like, this new script I'm writing, that's underlying all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do not let yourself off the hook. Retool, let it sit and keep going. Don't worry about time. Be patient, but do it the best you can possibly do it.
Yes, man.
And don't mess around with it, and don't put it out if you don't think it's ready to be put out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Takes a lot of humbling of yourself.
Totally.
A lot of work and grinding it out. But
absolutely.
You're willing to do that.
You gotta.
You have to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We had a good talk about that before.
I really learned from that.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, because my first instinct was like I was like, screw her.
Right.
Screw that teacher. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And that'd be my first
Mine
instinct.
too.
Yeah. But I think that I never, and I don't think I ever go that far to like
really
take it in.
Absolutely.
Maybe
man.
like that person was actually trying to like help.
Well, I mean, this is the cool. I'm gonna rope this in. Talking about fatherhood, talking about best thing thing that's shaped you in some way, changed your life in some way that you remember. Some piece of advice. My father told me when I was younger, Dave, whatever you put out in this world, you get back tenfold. And he would always say that, like from time to time, he'd just be like, whatever you put out in this world, Dave. And he's talking in terms of work and in terms of giving yourself to something. But I took it as in terms of sharing, right? Like opening myself up and sharing a thing. It became like kind of the way I deal with the world. And almost nearly all the time, like I'm amazed with what the world responds with me, like how the universe, like if I do truly give like the sun and the whole world grows tall, you know, my boy, totally. I mean, I believe that, and my father told me that a long time ago. But it makes me think what you just were talking about your teacher. She took the time to say, Eric, like, I'm going to put you through a really uncomfortable thing. She didn't have to do that. Mm-hmm. She didn't have to put in energy and effort and give real true advice and test you like that. She didn't have to do that. Yeah. She could have bypassed you and had a bunch of other students and just catered to one or two of them and whatever. Who knows? But she took the time to do that, and it shaped your life in some way. And I think about the people that, it makes me think about the people that have I'm talking for myself, but the people that have changed my life, that I'm not family with, that I didn't know, or that were my teachers, that when you boil it down, it was they cared for me in some kind of way, to take time on me, to challenge me, to give me a new perspective. And if I listened, if I did take that in, if I allowed myself to be open and touched by these people and like moved and changed, to take in their wisdom, like you get a new outlook, and I think you're better for it, man. But I think the really cool thing about this life is like, if we are open to other people can change our life for the better. And they'll help us, they'll support us. They take care of us. A person can change your life without you even knowing the person. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild. It's just a wild thing. Yeah. And I was talking about this the other day to shout out Adam and Katie Barbary and Adam Louder. I was just taking like a second to be like, thank you for being my friends, because like, we choose to spend time with each other, right? And then like to reach out and to say like, hey man, come with me, and like today we'll just share a day together. And like you said yes, and I was like, oh sick, you're giving me some of your time today, and you do this thing with me every week, and like we share time together. And it's cool that we say like, hey, I see something in you, man, and I care, yes, and like I just want to be here, give some of my time to you, and like share with you for the time we do have, because we don't have tomorrow. Like tomorrow isn't really a thing, today is. And it's such like a gift, bro. At the end of the day, it's such a gift, dude. The people that say like, hey Dave, I'll give you some of my time. And I'm like, whoa, me? Me? What? Like when I boil it, it's very easy to take for granted to say like, so-and-so didn't call me, like fuck them. You know what I mean? Or like, I just feel, I feel like a little resentment or something, like fuck them.
Yep.
But then you think back and you're like, these people have poured in so much time and like support and love, and they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do that. They really didn't, but they felt the need to, or they were compelled to, and they trusted it, and it changed my life. Yeah, so I'm ranting, but there's something to that. There's something to that. I don't quite have the words for it, but
it definitely is.
There's a lot of gratitude that follows, like when you think about the time people spend on you and energy they spend on you. It's crazy.
I agree. Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of value that can be taken from examining that point of view with each person that you come across in a lot in your life, or the people that you're like, oh man, well, I have friends who are back home who I haven't seen in a while, or maybe I won't see till like Christmas. Yeah. And I think that there's such a thing that I've thought about a lot more recently, that I want to make sure that I'm always good at, is to share that gratitude, show it for them. And so I'm always thinking about that when they cross my mind when I'm here on the streets. Sometimes I'll just shout them a little message and say like, hey, what's up? How are you? To let them know like I'm thinking about them, or whoever it is. Yeah. And I think that there's this day and age, that's how we can really use this technology that is so all-consuming in some ways, and if you use it wrong, to the best of our ability to be like, hey, I can communicate with this friend right now who I haven't seen in a while. Great. Yeah. I just did this little art showcase recently, and I saw a really good friend of mine that I hadn't seen in years came to the show, which I was so appreciative about. And actually, we had some great conversations and stayed there and chatted for a while till everybody else was gone. It was so nice to be able to do that. And I just recently sent a little message saying like, man, I really, really appreciate that you were there. And I so genuinely was also not even expecting that person to be there at all. Yeah. So it's nice when you get to, when your mind allows you to go, I got to do that. Man. Totally. And you don't forget that. And trust your gut. And respond with something. Oh yeah. And take action. It's good to allow yourself to breathe in life in such a way where you don't forget those kind of things. Oh yeah. Sometimes we can run around so much. Yeah. Actually, funny enough, that's another thing that you're mentioning, being a father and stuff like that. And the moment that I was changed in that way, the biggest thing that I think I was changed towards was to just sit sometimes. Just sit sometimes and like not, run around as much worrying about this. I still am, I'm more active than ever, but in a good way. Yeah. I've turned the active nature that I have, because I'm always wanting to be everywhere. Yeah. But I've turned it into a way where I'm not running around as blindly, or as just chasing something that I think doesn't have as much of an output or an end game to it. Right now I'm like, I'm I'm working on this script. I'm going to let that breathe, and I'm going to let it come when they come. I'm going to, okay, this meeting is next week. I'm not just going to scramble and think about that every single second of my day, which I used to, until that meeting. And that's all I think about. Yeah. I'm going to let that meeting be there. I'm going to work on it when I can. I'm going to work, do that kind of stuff. But I'm also going to say to myself, like I have, hey, you know, I'm going to take hold of some of these other interests that I have, like climbing or surfing. I picked up a guitar the other day for the first time. I got it repaired, and do stuff like that where I'm like, I'm going to just sit and take time for the other things too. Yes. Which is something that I hadn't done in years, is just like running and trying to get this thing done. And crazy enough, more progress has been made on the other things since I've done that.
Yeah.
Way more progress. Yeah. They've gotten better.
Yeah.
The other stuff that because I've let it breathe.
Yeah, man.
If I focus just that amount of time on it, better attention paid in that moment. And it's like, oh yeah, there you go. So that's a different thing.
And your life's richer too on the other side of it, because you're doing other things.
I'm going to sit there, I'm going to say, you know what? Right now, I'm just going to take my son to the playground and just let him play. Yeah. And there he is. And that's all I'm going to do. Nothing does beat it. So you just got to remember to take those moments and just do that.
Yes.
You know, and you got all the other stuff there. It's all waiting for you. It's going to happen anyway.
It'll happen when it happens.
So when someone comes up to me and they go, where's that script? What is it? What's going on? What's going on? What are you doing with it? What are you doing with it? What are you doing with it? It's like, you know, I got a lot I could say about it. Yeah. I could talk to you about it for hours, but also just trying to live my life. Yeah. Just hanging out. Yeah. Because I know that I'm doing it. I know that things are happening with it. And I kind of, you know, I know I have a team. Yes. We're all working on it together. So it's allowed me to go, I don't need to like fret as much about why it's not done yet. Yeah. I know it will be, and we're getting there. Yeah. We're making the progress. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
So
shout out to the team.
I think that's one thing is when you sort of like lessen the amount of the things that are clogging your mind or weighing it down, these other things come up. Like Debbie and I just went and bought climbing shoes the other day.
There you go.
She's going to start climbing with me. And, you know, a year ago, I'd never had that interest. Yeah. I didn't know that I wanted to do it till I explored it. Yeah. And I saw that I wanted to do that. And I was like, this is cool. Yeah. Now I've been doing it for a while, bringing her into it. And it's like letting yourself just live those things in your life that you feel like will create just, you know, things that you just want to do. Have fun. Yeah. That's what it's all about. You got to do that. Yeah. Got to take time for your interests and let yourself have that breath. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Especially in the city, running around so much.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Sir.
I feel like you need a little hobby, dude, or something.
Bro, I got hobbies.
Something different. Oh,
your brother crushing with the basketball.
Speaking of it, bro. Yeah. I got the camera for you, man.
Yeah, right?
I got you the camera.
Oh, you did give me the camera?
Yeah.
That's
I can give it to you today.
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to have Dave shoot a little film photography. Yeah. I'm giving him a film camera.
Oh, that's great.
I'm trying to get into it.
We're going to
love it.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what you got, man.
Thank you so much for
I feel like you got a good eye.
Facilitating this.
You gave him the camera?
I'm going to give him, yeah.
Nice.
He's loaning it out to me.
That's great.
I'm really excited.
Maybe we can look at them. We can print them and maybe look at them on the pod.
Love it.
And then post them on the Instagram. Yeah. Do a little something like that.
That'd be really cool, man. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you for doing that for me, bro. I'm excited to do it. Real quick.
Yes.
Piece of advice. One of the best piece of advice for your brother. I want to make sure you get this. Did you say this? You didn't say this yet.
I didn't say one.
Yeah. I want to make sure.
I'm trying to. I can't. It's really hard.
Dig deep.
A lot of the advice I really got from, I think, my like family and stuff like that was very like, it's more like action and not really like word. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like showing me like hard work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
is there someone outside of your family that you would have got a piece of advice from? That said something?
I can't think of like, I'm so bad with like memory.
That's all right.
I can't think of an exact thing. You tell me a lot of good things.
Thanks.
A lot. One thing I really
with some good gems.
One thing I really
Shout out,
sure.
Dave.
One thing I really live by though is from my great grandma. She would always tell me, she was Polish, she couldn't speak English, and she would always say that in Polish it's śmiech jest zdrowie, which means like basically like laughing is like life, like it's like living, basically. And she'd always be laughing and making jokes, and I feel like that's where I got a lot of my like, you know, characters.
Yeah.
And like me, my brother,
I
and
could
my
see
cousin,
that.
we were talking about it recently, how we feel like we really got like a lot of our personality from her.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, it's just something I always live by.
I could totally see
Nice.
that, dude.
Get the comedy out of like something good out of a bad situation, something like that.
What was your name? Your grandmother's name? Great grandmother?
Man, she was babcia, man. It's grandma, but she was babcia Regina.
Okay. Regina.
Yeah,
Ah, beautiful.
Regina Zielinska.
That's beautiful, dude.
Nice
I love that name.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
You know what? It's getting a little hot in here.
It's getting a little hot here. My eyes are sweating, dude.
But dude, that was an hour 20 minutes, man.
Yeah,
so
man.
we can get some last things in.
Yeah.
We gotta close this out,
Wrap it
bro.
up.
Eric, Mr. Lommel, you are here, episode 35.
Boom.
Thank you for coming out today.
Yeah.
Thank
man.
you guys. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
I'm glad you were
Love that
able
you
to-
guys do this.
You're welcome
Hell
back
yeah.
anytime, dude.
Thanks,
For
man.
sure.
Part of the
Glad to
family.
meet you finally.
Yeah.
Another member
yeah.
of the Dave crew.
We talk some photography stuff after this.
Yeah,
It could be
dude.
a lot.
For sure.
Is there anything you want to shout out before you go?
Plug anything.
Anything to plug? Any thoughts?
socials.
Whatever you feel, bro.
Something everyone's gonna remember you by.
Was there any last thing that comes to your mind to ask me at all? Like any lingering question that you want to know?
Lingering question, dude. What do you hope to be in 5 years? What's the plan?
Oh man, I mean, there's so many different
5
aspects
kids?
of that.
Five?
No.
Solid 5?
I would have one more.
Yeah.
One more.
One more. We crossing our fingers
I've been
for a
building
girl?
a photography studio.
Okay.
No, actually,
Yeah.
I don't have any. I've never had a preference.
Got you.
This time I didn't have one because I like to just let it happen.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't
As it
I don't
should.
have any sort of grand plans. There's a lot of people who have those preferences, but
Right.
I'm like, there's so much to worry about in terms of when that comes, whatever it is, it is.
Yeah.
But from me, like I'm working on building a photography studio. I've
Yeah.
recently got that going on and starting from getting my feet wet in that and printing and writing.
Do you have a space?
But yeah, I set up in my apartment now, so I've got that stuff, and then eventually want to just keep
I was
building.
just saying, if you needed to have a space somewhere, I got rooms here.
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
I mean, always. Yeah, let's chat about that. One thing though that comes to mind is Debbie and I have really gotten our feet wet in terms of social activism recently. So in the next 5 years, we've really want to take that as far as we can in terms of just getting involved in foundations and things like that, whether it be, coral or, climate research, things like that, and just doing whatever we can to help.
Yeah.
We just want to help. And so we know how dire certain things are, and we know how where we're at now. And I've done tons of research with that. And so that ties in with me seeing certain things and saying, how can I take that and be as positive as I possibly can?
Yeah.
So right now we're right at the beginnings of making ourselves aware that we need to live like a plastic-free life. So we're not doing plastic anymore.
Gotcha.
Went through our entire apartment, no go on that. Everything we do grocery-wise now, no plastics. So we're starting there.
Yeah.
We're starting step by step.
Cool, man.
And so when I look at that, the beginnings of that in 2019, I want to take that in 5 years, still be doing that in a big way. I want to be in the foundations. I want to research what I can be involved in there, wherever I live, and just say to myself, if I were to look back at this 5 years from now, say, I'm still doing it.
Hey.
And that's what I want. So
You heard it here, dude.
yeah. So Eric, hope you're still doing that.
You are still doing it.
And then on top of that, Dave and Mike doing that too.
Oh, man. Yeah. I want it.
So for anybody also, and funny enough, shout out to Ariel Pacheco.
Shout out to Eric.
He-
Pacheco. Love you, dog.
He
I
had
love
a
you.
great conversation with me about all of those concerns with me. And he said, biggest piece of advice that he said about that, which I just loved, he was like, share everything. Share all of that you just told me about. And I was like hesitant because I'm like, I just do this. And I just have the urge to start making this change. So I don't want to bother anybody else. And he's like, no, share it. So now I've started to share that, that we're finding these spots, package free, plastic free living.
Yeah.
And I've shared them, and he's started responding to me saying like, yep, there you go. And so he's pushing me to become more vocal about it.
Right.
Even though I'm sort of shy about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, we went to the climate march the other day, and I'm being like, in terms of my own being, I'm changing in such a way where my awareness is now like really heightened to where I see, you know, I went to the guy at Trader Joe's the other day. I was like, why are all of your cauliflower things wrapped in plastic?
Right.
Your lettuce isn't, all that other stuff. And that is. And he's like, no, just because we got to, you know, put a barcode on there. And I'm like, do you though? You wrap all of your cauliflower in plastic.
Yeah.
And so I go to the package-free grocery store. There's a thing of cauliflower sitting right there. I don't have to do that. So now I've learned that I can go there and get that.
Yeah.
You know? So it's those things that it's to start a life like that. I've realized it's the beginnings of it. It's all problem solving.
Right.
It's, here's this item. How can I get it without?
Yes.
And how can I go step by step to where in the long run, over years and years, it just becomes, well, I don't even know about that other option.
Right.
That's just not a thing for me.
Right.
And that's what I got to do.
Awesome, man.
So that's where we're at right now, and that I'm wanting to make sure that I keep doing.
Yeah, bro.
And spreading the word.
Yeah, you just did. Dude.
Totally.
You just did. Thanks, bro.
Great.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys.
Man. Woo! Episode 35 of the You Are Here
35.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
What do you wish to share with your photography?
In terms of
Like, do you have like a purpose of it, or is there anything specifically you want like people to feel?
For my photography, I love portrait work because of the connection I find with somebody in there. Dave and I had a great convo about connecting earlier at lunch, and it was like, you know, that's the same sort of essence that I love about acting in a scene with someone. I love the connection, and to bring a person over to my place and just have that connection build up over the course of whether it be 1 or 2 hours or whatever, and just really let them drop their guard and see them drop their guard. And so you get to who it really is, the root of what that person is, and find those avenues in. And that's the more I learn about photography and why I really love it. It's like finding that person and saying like, all right, where can I get to the sweet spot where it's just you, just that. And that's the heart of the thing that I just put up. It's just everyone that I put up, every picture that I chose. Each session out of these 9 prints is like 400 shots. And I went through and I found the one that really examined who I feel they really are.
The name of this collection is
the masks we wear.
The masks
and so it's all paint based.
Gotcha.
And I let them all just do whatever they wanted to do in terms of building that up.
Yeah.
And each one of those reflects that person's personality.
That's really great, man.
It was so fun to do. You know, I'm already trying to think of what my next one's going to be. But that's the heart of it, is connecting to the person through portraiture. I loved it. And that's grown over the years, because it really started out with just like, oh, this is fun. You know, I could start just taking shots cheaply, and then I started to say, what do I really want to say?
Yes.
And then what do I really want to, what's my goal with this?
Sounds like an artist, dude.
Basically, same thing with acting, filmmaking.
Yeah.
When you find out what you really want to say and do, then it becomes a whole other game.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Right?
This is just the last thing I get. Fuck, I keep wanting to talk to you about more stuff. Last thing. This is weird. I don't know how I remember this, but I do remember this. It's from years ago. You posted something when I just started getting to know you, or maybe right before, about Humans of New York, the profile, right? The photographer. I love that. Talk about portraits and connecting to somebody, getting an image and a flash of somebody, and the breakdown and like what a person wants to speak about to you, and reading about these slivers of life. Like there's something about those photos and those descriptions and those speeches that remind me how beautiful humanity is, man. So they approached you, or this person. To me, it's a mythical, folklorish person.
Yeah. Crazy thing that you mentioned that. I've run into him 4 times.
Are you kidding me?
4 times.
What does he look like?
Brandon Stanton. You can look him up on
I'm gonna find
online.
you, brother.
He's
I'm gonna find you.
weirdly the last time I ran into him, and he's posted me twice and ran into him 4 times.
Whoa.
The other 2.
Do you know this profile?
He was
Yeah.
the other 2. I think the 3rd time, which was really hilarious. He ran into me. I was rehearsing with Haley. I was meeting her in Times Square.
Yeah.
We were about to do work on a scene.
Yeah.
He comes walking by the cafe, and I just ran out, and I was like, Brandon, you posted like a year ago or so. And he's like, I saw this thing in his eyes where he's like, I posted, and I was like, yeah, twice. And I saw him go, in his mind, he's like, okay, well, I'm not doing it a 3rd time. And then I saw him a 4th time, and he was like, not doing it a 4th time.
Wow.
But the 4th time I ran into him was 2 months ago when I was running a 6-mile loop in Central Park. The 6th mile, that last part, he was standing there with his wife right when I got done. So here I am finishing 6 miles, and I'm covered in sweat, and I was like, hey, oh shit, Brandon, what's up, man? And he's like, hey, man. And I'm like, you posted me, Humans New York. Yeah, what's up, man? And I like high five him, and he's like, oh, dude. And he remembered, because I'm sure he remembered, like, oh, why do I keep running into your ass? Why? And so then I'm just like, probably deliriously being like, yo. And he was like, yeah, I just got back from like Sudan or something, traveling the world. And yeah, we caught up a little bit. Awesome. And he's a great guy to run into.
Yeah.
Funny enough, the first time I ran into him, I was going to work, and I lived in Hell's Kitchen. I was walking to work. He stops me a street away from my apartment. We have a great convo, like 20 minutes. And there was this guy sitting on the stoop. He was wearing this suit, and he like probably mid-50s, and he had a tie on. He was kind of like stuffy looking. And Brandon finishes talking to me, and we were really riding high off this convo. And then I see him turn to this guy, and who clearly had no idea who he was. And he was like, hey, Brandon from Humans in New York, you want to chat? And the guy just goes, no, and just gets up and walks away. And Brandon looks at me and goes, well, he doesn't know what he's missing, does he?
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, because some people probably don't know. And then they find out later, and they're like, that guy approached me. And it is a rarity. I'm really shocked that I ran into him to be on there twice. I never expected that. He got Debbie and I right after we got groceries one day. And it was a rainy day on just a sidewalk. And it's so interesting to talk to him, because he's a great interviewer. Incredible. And he gets stuff out of you, and just like you find yourself, even, the first time I met him, I didn't know what he looked like. So he had to approach me and say who he was.
Right. And
all of a sudden, within a minute, the way that he is, you just all of a sudden find yourself vulnerable and just saying whatever you're going to say. And I never for a second felt like I was mapping out what I was going to say to him.
Right.
Never. And if I would have pre-meeting him, if you would have been like, okay, in 30 minutes, you're going to meet Brandon Stanton from Humans in New York, I would have probably been like, okay, I'm going to say this.
Of course.
This profound thing, this profound thing, probably. But I just met him, and he was like, question. And I was like, okay, well, actually this and this and this. And no part of me was thinking at all about that. And so, I really hope you guys run into him someday, because it's a blast.
I'm such a fan.
And he gets a lot out of you in a short amount of time.
I think that the way he brings people together through a social media platform, I think is unlike any other dude. So keep doing your thing, Brandon.
Yes.
Episode 35 of the You're Here podcast.
What's up?
We've done it, bro.
What's up?
Man. Well, I guess I'll close it out.
Close this out, baby. We gotta get to work.
Yes.
Cool.
Boom. Episode 35. Damn. Find the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor.fm, www.yourherepodcast.co. You cannot afford the M. Subscribe, like, comment on YouTube. I'm Mike. Real? I'm signing out.
I'm Dave, and I love y'all.
Is that real? That M thing?
We cannot afford the M.
Oh,
I forgot to say it this time. Say it again.
No.
All right, Eric. In closing.
We can cannot afford the M.
Oh, bang, bang. There we go. Episode 35, dude. Thank you, bro. Thank you, man. That was a